Good evening, welcome to our program, Women to Women. I'm Carol Paz, your hostess, and tonight we have two ladies, one of whom is going to appear first, and in the second half, our second candidate. So I'm going to introduce them both to you very shortly. But first, I'd like to thank our sponsors for tonight's program. Vila Basque Deli and Cafe, right here in Carson City, home of Pete's famous Basque chorizo, and it is delicious. We'd also like to thank Carpa Nevada LLC, importer of fine Portuguese olive oils and aged balsamic vinegar, as well as international health teas. And finally, but certainly not last, very importantly, carsonnow.org. It's the 24/7 place to go. When you want to know what's happening here in Carson City, it's carsonnow.org. And now I'd like to introduce to you CharleneBybee. She's back again for a second time. She's been with us before, but welcome again, Charlene.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great to have you. Charlene, normally we ask where you're from and we do some personal background questions, but we really want to get to the real meat of the matter as to why you're here tonight. And I understand that you are running for office.
I am.
Tell us about it.
I'm here because I'm running for Sparks City Council,
yes.
Ward 4.
Okay.
In the general election, the whole city gets to vote. In the primary, it was my ward only, and I won the primary.
Mm-hmm.
First time I've run for office, and there is no incumbent. The incumbent was term limited.
Okay.
So there are two of us in the general election, and walking neighborhoods all over the city of Sparks trying to meet voters.
All right, and I'm going to show this because if you see this lady coming up to your door, this is CharleneBybee, okay? And that green is a very special color that you have.
It is. When I decided to run for office, everyone uses red, white, and blue.
Mm-hmm.
People who know me know I'm patriotic, so I decided I don't want to do red, white, and blue because it doesn't stand out. So I chose the green to honor my Irish heritage and my Irish grandmother. And I'm really glad that I did. It really stands out. I wear green when I walk. I have green Converse tennis shoes, and I've already worn a pair out. I'm on my second pair of green tennis shoes and a green top, so it's kind of my signature that people know when they see me.
Charlene, okay, you won your primary, and I know that you must have strong reasons because you're in and out of this country a lot on your job. You are an airline stewardess. You're a hostess for American Airlines, right?
Correct.
So I wanted to ask you, in your travels and as you interact with the passengers, I'm sure you collect many ideas and thoughts that they share randomly with you. But what are your thoughts and ideas on why you're running?
I'm running because I think it's important. Most people feel that there should be more everyday people in politics at all levels. At the city level, I feel like I have the most direct contact and closest to the voters and the residents. And I am the people of Sparks. I've lived there 50 years. And most people I meet at the door are longtime residents. And I knew that, but every night that I walk, every night I hear, oh, I've lived here my whole life, or I'm third generation. And it's important to people because I represent them. I know what Sparks, what it's like to grow up in Sparks. I know what it's like to raise my family, 2 sons that I raised in Sparks. And people really appreciate that. And they understand that I'm an everyday citizen like they are. And I can represent their voice because I listen and I know what it's like. And I think that's important in government at all levels.
So when you go around from home to home on this campaign walk neighborhoods, what are people telling you about their feelings towards our nation and or our leadership, and or what is it that you can do for them that they think might be different?
And well, on the city level, it's a little different. Some people voice their frustrations with government in general, government becoming too big, not responsive to the voters and to that everyday citizen. On the local level, I'd have that opportunity to do that. And people are frustrated about the economy and a lot of things. And sometimes they vent those feelings and you've got to listen. You listen to what their national or state issues are, but you also listen to their problems with traffic, with Sparks growing so much, with traffic issues, with school issues. So there's a wide, house to house, sometimes it's different, but it's interesting because when walking, and I make notes, and then I'll send notes to voters. Sometimes I've called the city and found out, how do they get speed bumps in their neighborhood, and how does someone go about doing that? Some people just don't know how to work through that process, and that is something important as an elected official that you do. And I think I tell everybody the hardest part about the campaign is walking, because there's one of me, and I'd like to clone myself and send 10 of me out every night instead of just one. But it's the best part, because every night I meet someone different. Sometimes it's people I know, and sometimes it's not. But what I would like to do, if elected, because this has been so valuable in walking neighborhoods and meeting who really lives in Sparks, is to walk a neighborhood every month and stay connected to the voters, because they're not the ones who necessarily are calling or know who to call, who to contact. It's not the squeaky wheel. It's just people on an everyday basis, and they are surprised a lot of times and very receptive. I was surprised how receptive they are. They appreciate you spending the time and actually caring enough to come and meet them face to face.
Do you see a difference of opinion or difference of viewpoints? And I think this can happen in any election, any decade, maybe any significant period of time, between young voters and older voters.
Somewhat, and yet I think it's where you are in your life, what your priorities are, and I know that because I've got, my boys are 26 and 30, so I have a son with a young baby. So those young families, I understand, and having been a mom raising my kids, what their priorities are. If they have young school children, my kids are grown and out of school, but I've been there. So their concerns on schools and on childcare and on activities are very different from, say, senior citizens, which my mom and dad are in their mid-80s. And I understand that because I'm dealing with helping care for my parents and looking at facilities and services for seniors. And I mean, so you kind of, because the different age groups where you are in your life, you have different needs from city services, from priorities in your life. And it's important to listen to those because it covers my neighborhoods. I've had 93-year-old couple people in their 90s that were super sharp and talk politics, and they vote all the time.
I'm going to be one of them.
To people in their, a young man today was 32 years old. Another man who called me who's 50 and had never voted. So it's an interesting, but you get a feel for who those people are and what their priorities are.
I'm also wondering, with the new growth that's coming to Sparks, okay, in terms of industry and new companies, is that going to be an impact on you if you win this election on the city council?
Absolutely. And it's a good problem to have.
Yes.
Tesla is, we can't even put our arms around it. It's so big. But Sparks will be most directly affected. I mean, people will come over Interstate 80 and drop into Sparks. The Southeast Connector won't be ready yet. The connector into Highway 50 coming over, into the Carson area. So Sparks will be most directly affected by Tesla, and they're ready. There's 3 different major residential areas that have been ready to go, and they've been on hold because of the recession. So for housing, they're ready to go. But there's going to be a lot of growth challenges with traffic, with services, with the sewer system, infrastructure needs for an increased population, schools, and all of those things that the City of Council is going to be looking at addressing those. But the growth that we'll see will expand our tax base, and that's a good thing. It's a win-win. It'll bring businesses, it'll bring jobs, it'll bring an economic stability to the city, and those are all great things. But it requires good leadership, and managing that growth is going to be important.
Right, and when you say it requires good leadership, I think, and that's based upon not only creativity, the talent there to think outside of the box, but experience. Experienced people who have not only worked, hopefully, in government, but certainly in business itself, and have a track record of success behind them, because they do have that foresight, they do have that insightfulness.
Absolutely.
I know as a voter, if you came to my door and you explained, okay, a little bit about yourself, I would say, is your flying in and out of the country going to be a problem in order to maintain that city council schedule?
I get that question because they're like, well, I came in from Shanghai last night.
Yes.
They're like, how can you be in Shanghai or London and do this job? Currently, I fly 9 days a month. I'm gone 3 days at a time. If I win the seat, I will probably just fly 2 trips, so 6 days out of the entire month. So I work fewer days, have more flexibility than anybody who serves on the council right now. They all have full-time jobs doing other things. And with my seniority, if something comes up, I drop a trip or I trade it. And I'm looking about the last year and a half of my career before retirement, so I have a little bit more time to balance both, but not a problem at all. And I have so much flexibility, and it's a good, it is a good thing. What I bring is my not just international exposure, but the years of customer service, and that is my strongest point I bring to this position are my people skills, because I'm trapped at 36,000 feet, and I have conflict management, but I understand people, and in I've had leadership all across the board in my community activities, and people enjoy working with me because my people skills are good, and I think that's what I would bring to the city of Sparks, of working with the city staff, businesses that want to come to Sparks, and with citizens, is really bringing people together and working with people well, which is the thing I do best.
Well, you're experienced in your professional life, and you also have that hometown knowledge because you've been in Sparks for 50 years, and that's a lot to say about a candidate. Taking on this really strenuous schedule of getting out there and meeting people, representing your town, what have you personally learned about yourself?
It has been a growing experience and a learning experience, and I guess kind of reinventing yourself in a way. I've been involved in the community, so I'm very aware of working with different people and doing things and making a difference in the community. But I think it's really learning, the challenge for me has been learning all the different groups I've met before their specific issues. So understanding whether it's realtors or the builders, different laws, different things that apply to their business that I didn't know about, from margins tax to to the sewer facility, to other legislative issues that affect the city of Sparks, and how city government works with the state legislature. So learning, constantly learning, and I think that does keep you young. And I think that I enjoy that challenge of learning, and I base my decisions on facts. I'm just that kind of person. I want to, and I won't form an opinion or express something until I get more information. So that has been the best thing, is that I'm learning every day along the campaign trail, and as I move forward, I'm learning more about things that I didn't know about before.
And how much time on average do you spend, let's say, at someone's front door or in their living room? What's it come down to?
Some people are just a few minutes, but then some I've been, 15, 20 minutes talking with voters. If they want to talk, I'll spend that time talking with them. So it really varies, and some people aren't home, so I leave my card with a note on it. But some really want to engage in long conversations, and you need to do that because I need to hear what they have to say. So it really varies, and every night I'm out from 3 hours midweek to 5-6 hours on a weekend, and it's a lot of hours, but I always am energized when I get home.
Yes,
because and I actually started I'm keeping my miles. I started logging my miles in a pedometer, and then I have a journal that I've started making notes because I've met amazing people. I met David Weiss's mom, the Olympic snowboard medalist, gold medalist. And then people that I hadn't seen since elementary school. I mean, so every night I meet somebody new, and sometimes in a 2-degree separation. That's one thing in Sparks. Everybody's connected. Everybody here in Nevada, I think, is a very close connection to each other.
It's a closely bound state.
It is.
Well, I can tell that you must sleep well at night. And we say thank you, okay, for taking the time to come to us again, okay? We wish you the very best.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And we thank our listening audience. We'll be back with another candidate who's very special. She's been here before, too. See you soon. Don't go away.
We always knew that when we had another baby, we would love it if I could stay home. The kids shape what we do. Everything's about them. So we had to make a lot of changes. Quick Balance is this really nice feature of the Bank of the West app. The more I check into my balance, the easier it is for me to stay on track. You don't even have to log in. Hold on tight. You're on call, 24/7. Every minute that the app saves me is a minute that I can spend with my family. And that means everything to me.
Come to the Carson Horseshoe Club for fun and friendly service. Play your favorite games. Join our Players Club, where you get cash for points plus food comps, and enjoy casual dining in our Lucky Horse Grill. Get it all in the heart of downtown Carson City at the family-owned, local favorite Carson Horseshoe Club.
Hi, I'm Stephen Lincoln with CarsonCityHomes.com, Carson City's original online real estate resource.
At CarsonCityHomes.com, you get effective and easy-to-use tools to help you select your next home today. With our easy-to-use website, you can search listings throughout Northern Nevada and narrow the results by selecting every facet, quirk, and quality you desire. Visit CarsonCityHomes.com.
Apex SCF provides cutting-edge, hands-on training that effectively addresses today's threats of violence.
The Apex Stay Alive course teaches proven methods for personal protection and attack countermeasures that can be applied in any environment. In your home, at the workplace, or on campus, Apex will teach you the necessary skills to stay alive, including how to recognize and react to an active shooter scenario.
If you knew you had to fight for your life tomorrow, would you train today? Contact us now to sign up for a class in your region.
Welcome back to the second half of our show, Women to Women. We're here with another very special lady who has won her primary and is highly invested in this election, and we'll get to her in just a second. But first, I'd like to thank our sponsors for the second half, Dr. Kent Gabriel, MD, noted plastic surgeon here in Carson City. Dr. Gabriel's specialty is microsurgery of the hands. We'd also like to thank the Carson Horseshoe Club, located in the historic district of Carson. If you're thinking about a delicious breakfast, an afternoon lunch, why not stop in and see their newly renovated dining room? That's the Carson Horseshoe Club. And we'd also like to thank Bank of the West right here in Carson City, one of the customer-friendly banks that you'll ever walk into. When you walk in, they do know your name, Bank of the West. So let's welcome back Jill Dickman. Jill, thank you so much for returning. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me back.
Oh, yes. Okay, you have had a successful primary run.
Right.
And now you are facing the upcoming elections, and for very important reasons. We know a little bit about you from the last time. We know that you have been in business in Sparks, Northern Nevada, for a number of years with your husband.
Over 15.
Over 15. And so you have a good sense of the business community, you have a good sense of the area that you're representing. But we're not quite sure. Catch us up. You're highly invested in what you're doing now. You are looking forward with excitement, enthusiasm, for the best results.
Yes,
so tell us,
much.
What are your specific reasons? Why are you running for this particular office? Which is?
Well, I always like to remind people of a Mark Twain quote.
Okay.
He said over 120 years ago that no man's life, liberty, or property are safe while the legislature is in session.
That sounds like Mark Twain.
Yes. Okay. and his words are probably even truer today than they were even back then. And, you know, every time the legislature meets, they talk about raising our taxes. And we all know that raising taxes basically serves the purpose of growing government.
Yes, it does.
So I'm a small business owner, I've managed and owned businesses for almost 30 years. So I have experienced the detrimental effects of taxation and overregulation, and the small businesses that drive our economy need more representation in the legislature. There are very few people in our legislature who are not public employees.
Okay, and that definitely is a huge movement in play right now, isn't it? Because for those of us who are in small business, what are we facing if the margins tax passes?
Well, it will certainly affect all of us. I mean, they like to say that it only affects people who are making are grossing over $1 million, and that doesn't take into effect their profit level, but it's going to have a trickle-down effect. It's going to hurt all of us. Because as we all know, businesses don't pay taxes. They pass them on to their customers. So, and then there's the fact that the money that is going to be raised by that will go to education, but then they can also take money out of the general fund that would have gone to education, away from education. And so we could end up, if we lose businesses, obviously we're not going to gain anything for education dollars.
And you know something, Jill, by having lived in other states, on the East Coast as well as in the Midwest, I agree with you that money that is supposed to be or has been tagged for education very seldom gets used for that purpose.
There's a lot with lotteries too.
It does. It does. So as you're out there meeting the people, are you doing the door-by-door campaigns? How do you meet the people? Every day.
Yes, every day. We walk probably 4 to 5 hours, 6 hours on the weekends, 2 and 3 hours during the week. And people are just ready for a change. They're tired of
may I say Democrat?
Okay, sure.
Policies,
That's all right.
tax and spend policies that are making the poor poorer, and they are wiping out the middle class. We have had wages are dropping or stagnating at every income and education level. We have millions more people on food stamps. Gas prices are up, I think I read somewhere 82% on average. But,
That's a startling fact.
yeah, but we had a little shock today in our business. We just got our insurance premium increase for the coming year. We were told we're one of the lucky ones who only received a 53% increase.
53%.
53%, and our premiums were already high. They had already,
Yes.
when Obamacare was implemented, we received about a 20 to 25% increase. Now that high premium is going up another 53%. So it's getting to the point where we are not going to be able to provide insurance for our employees.
Okay.
And I'm afraid that's going to happen all over Nevada. But it's not just the cost. I was talking with a young girl when I was walking on Saturday. She has been diagnosed with Lyme disease, and her doctors want her to have a procedure done. It's taken over 4 weeks to get approval for that procedure. And in the meantime, 3 days before she was supposed to get that approval, she was brought to the hospital and hospitalized as a result of not having been able to have that procedure in time. So we have huge issues facing us.
And as our viewers know, we're not a political program, but my guests are certainly free to express themselves in any way.
Well, thank you.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Now, when you're out there, Jill, walking and meeting the people, are they saying to you, because I always wonder whether the American public, now we're talking about the Nevada public and specific northern Nevada public, are they up to date on the news? Are they up to date on really what's happening? Or are they just kind of living day by day, paycheck to paycheck, and that's what guides their thoughts and their feelings?
Well, it's both. I meet a lot of people who are not very engaged because they are just trying to survive. And unfortunately, this seems to be the new normal, scraping to get by. And our economy is improving, but not nearly the way it should be. But I do have a lot of people who are very engaged, and a lot of those people feel that things have gone so far that it's almost too late to turn things around. But I don't believe that. I believe we have to fight, and we can turn this around.
Recovery is something that the American people have had to do before,
Right.
in more than just one time or one period of time. So it's there within us. So if someone were to vet you, all right, and say, I like what Jill has to say, what would we find besides your business experience in the vetting process that you bring to the table that says to a voter, I trust JillDickman. I think what she says, she'll be right in there. She'll be fighting for the business community as well as for the residents of where she lives. What is it about you that they can trust?
Well, I'm a very genuine, honest person.
I found that
And
to be true.
I think people do get that when we meet. And I think we need more people that we can trust, because a problem that I've had when I walk and talk to people is when I tell them who I am and what I stand for, and they like it and they agree with it, but they say, why should I believe you? Because so many people have run on especially conservative values. I mean, we have Democrats and Republicans that run as conservatives, but then when they take office, they vote, in many cases, the opposite. And they want to know how they can believe me. And I just, we talk, and I feel that I build a trust with them.
And as an independent voter, as a registered independent, I'm always listening to both sides, whether it's Republican or Democrat, because I really care that the right person gets in there.
And I do hear that a lot.
And I am tired, I'm personally tired, all right, of either not being told the truth, not being given the true facts, because that's what I base my life on. I need to know the facts in order to make things better for all of us, okay, not just for myself.
Well, I talked to a man I had met Friday night at a candidate forum, and at this candidate forum, he told me that he always votes Democrat, but he would look at my information.
Good.
So he called me this morning, and he had read it over, and he wanted to talk to me a little more, and he said, you know what, I really like what I see, and I'm going to vote for you. And I think I built a little trust with him just through our conversation.
Yes, yes. And it's so important. Every election is important, whether it's at the local level, the state, or the federal, because what we're doing is we're establishing in our own minds and in our own hearts and our own spirits, okay, what's important for the nation that we live in. And it's very difficult. I've lived internationally. I've traveled internationally and come back into the country. And
there's no place like home, right?
There's no place like home. There's no place like home. But it's always important to me what other peoples, other nations, other cultures are thinking about us as a nation. And I want to be able to represent my country with dignity, with a sense of pride in the citizenry, and with a sense of pride in the opportunities that exist here for every single one of us.
Right.
But I want it done legally.
We've lost a lot of our opportunities that, you know, I think I mentioned this the last time I was here, that my grandparents emigrated from Russia after the communist takeover. So, you know, and they saw the freedom and opportunity here, but we've lost a lot of that, and we need to get it back.
So let me ask you, in our discussion here, you intend to try and take back lost ground.
Yes.
All right. And once you are elected, and if you're successful in that campaign, what will be probably your first two priorities to really focus on?
Well, my main priority is always jobs and the economy. And we need to have a much more business-friendly atmosphere in this state with less burdensome regulation so that we can attract businesses here and attract more good-paying jobs.
Okay, now with the new company that has arrived in Sparks, what are your, what are the indications for you there?
For me personally?
Well, as a business person, but also as a politician.
Well, I think it's huge. You know, I think that there's going to be so much trickle down from the jobs that are created there. And my hope, and I believe many of us, most of us are hoping that most of the people that will come from, will get those jobs are from Northern Nevada.
And skilled.
And skilled, but a problem is we may not have enough technically skilled people to fill those jobs. So another focus will have to be to get the people educated to do these jobs. And a fabulous way to do that is we have something called the ACE Charter School in Reno, and they teach the skilled trades.
So, and I think it's going to put a pressure and an emphasis on the colleges that we have here in Nevada to really rethink, revamp.
Absolutely.
Because here's a unique opportunity.
Right.
And that second focus, very quickly, jobs and employment, okay, because one is associated with the other. Where would you take it from there?
Well, the second one is improving our underperforming education system.
Okay.
And I believe that we need all the things that are parental, that encourage parental involvement, such as charter schools, vouchers. Vouchers will provide competition to our public schools, which will force them to get better. I think we need to do what we can to retain good teachers, and we need to be able to get rid of the underperforming teachers.
All right. Well, a lot of what you said, what you have to say, makes a lot of sense, Jill. And here at the program Women to Women, we're certainly listening, we're focusing on what candidates are saying, and it would be a privilege for you to be able to carry the day, so to speak, all right, and to have you back and really get your hands into the mix, okay, so to speak. It'll be interesting to see what happens, and we wish you the very best.
Well, thank you so much.
All right.
I
Thank
really
you for being
appreciate your
here.
time.
Oh, yes,
And
yes.
it was a blast.
Okay,
Thanks.
so when you see this lady coming around at your door, this is Jill Dickman, okay? Spend some time. All right, we thank you so much for being with us tonight. We'll be back next week, again with special ladies. In the meantime, stay well, take care, and have a good evening. Good night.